CTV News with Carlyle Fiset.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with an appeal from Sarnia police who say there may be more victims after a high school teacher was arrested facing multiple sexual assault charges. With the latest on the investigation, here's Sean Irvin.
Staff and students at St. Francois Xavier French Language Catholic High School in Sarnia are said to be concerned for those allegedly victimized by a teacher. 33-year-old Kevin Partington was arrested following a search of a home on Errol Road. He faces multiple counts.
He has been charged with 4 counts of sexual assault, 4 counts of sexual exploitation, as well as with break and enter, making child pornography.
Now, police report this investigation began about 2 months ago with a complaint. It wasn't long before they realized they had potentially multiple alleged victims.
More than one complaint. That being said, they were from 2023, 2024, and they were with respect to complainants or victims in this case that were students at the time.
Although the initial investigation took time to play out, the school board reports that the teacher was on administrative leave at the time of his arrest. The school has made support workers available to students, but officials have declined our interview requests. Meanwhile, police are encouraging the story be shared.
There is a concern from some, belief from others, that there may be other victims out there.
Police also wish for parents to talk to their kids and for older students to come forward to officers, victim services, or Crime Stoppers if they can help with the investigation.
There has been a lot of outreach that we have received from concerned parents, both who have children at that particular school or did at that time. It certainly does bring up a lot of grief.
Police say the Ontario College of Teachers and other related agencies have been made aware of the counts. Kevin Partington was remanded following a bail hearing on Monday. In Sarnia, Sean Irvin, CTV News.
Provincial police say they need help finding a federal offender in breach of his statutory release. They released this image of a man they say is Christopher Duffy, a 40-year-old man who has ties in London and the Greater Toronto area. He had been serving a 6-year sentence for trafficking controlled substances along with weapons offenses. Anyone with information on his location is asked to contact police. The case against a former London City Councillor charged with extortion was dealt with today at the London courthouse. Mariam Hamou did not appear in person for the brief process, but was represented by her lawyer. She was charged back in November, also facing 1 count of harassment. A publication ban has been imposed on the proceedings, including the identity of the complainant in this case. Hamou previously represented Ward 6 for about a year as a city councillor. The matter has been put over until her next appearance scheduled for April 7th. There's growing frustration in London's Old North neighborhood over property crimes. Residents say they happen frequently, so they've formed a community group to address their concerns. Brian Bicknell reports.
With its stately old homes and well-kept streets, Old North is not the first neighborhood you think of when it comes to crime. But at least one resident says the frustration is real.
I've been a victim twice, and you go out to your car or you walk to your driveway, and your trailer's been stolen out of the driveway.
Wayne Hissong is part of the Old North Community Safety Project. Formed late last year, it's an effort to bring neighbors together with police to address what Hissong says is a growing concern over property crimes in the neighborhood.
Burglaries of automobiles, breaking out windows to take items out of cars. We started talking to some of the people, and everybody had this common issue with property crime in the area, as well as packages being stolen off of porches was happening a lot.
The group is holding a town hall meeting with community leaders and police to address the issues. It's next Tuesday at 7 p.m. at New St. James Presbyterian Church, Oxford and Wellington.
Many of the citizens in Old North have reached a level to where they've done all they can on their own. And what we are asking for, what we call a call to action, is to see more police presence and a stronger partnership between citizens in Old North and the London Police Services.
Brian Bicknell, CTV News.
A local supportive housing project is getting a substantial financial boost thanks to a corporate donation. With more on what the money will be used for, here's Rita Ismail.
The sound of construction is already echoing across this Hill Street site as crews work to bring a new supportive housing project to life in London's Soho neighborhood.
One of our first major developments that we're doing. We've had 50 years of experience of doing supportive housing, but this is our first shot and first project of hopefully many supportive housing projects.
The Hill Street Supportive Housing Project is getting a financial boost from Airbnb. The company says 6 Ontario-based organizations will share more than $660,000 through the Airbnb Community Fund this year. CMHA Thames Valley, which will receive $100,000, was selected based on their strong record in helping the most vulnerable, a key priority for the Community Fund.
Locally, donating to this organization and other organizations like it was identified as a key priority from our hosts for the 2025-2026 giving program. So really wanted to make sure that we were supporting organizations that our hosts really appreciate having in their communities, and this was an obvious choice.
That helps us give furnishing and comfort to the people that are going to move into our new apartment building, because we have the funding for a building, but sometimes to make it a home, you need the furnishings for inside, and this really helps out with that.
The Hills is designed to support people experiencing mental health or addiction challenges. The 4-story building will include 33 units and is expected to be completed next spring. Rita Ismail, CTV News.
London's deputy mayor says he's confident the city is creating better conditions for commercial development. He made those comments as a recent survey shows more money being freed up in London for those projects. Jerry Dewan reports.
They are international players that manage big money, and according to commercial real estate specialist CBRE, lenders could be sending a good chunk of that money to Canada.
Canada, within the context of global financing, continues to be a solid, stable, defensible, dependable country.
CBRE surveyed 47 lenders and say 81% say they're increasing budget allocations to back credit in Canada. The struggling office space sector appears to be in line for a boost, with 47% of lenders saying they're interested in funding that sector.
That is the largest single growth year over year we've seen for that asset class on record. It's exciting.
The highest interest is in multi-unit residential, those high-density rental properties. The federal government is backing those projects with the support of the Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation.
Rental product is undersupplied in many markets, and there is definitely a stated need to continue to do that.
Vancouver is attracting the highest interest from lenders, followed by Toronto. Despite having the highest population growth by percentage in Ontario and having vastly improved building permit approval metrics, London continues to be middle of the pack for mid-sized Canadian cities when it comes to lender interest. One initiative launched by the city is to give developers incentives to build along bus rapid transit routes. Deputy Mayor and Ward 2 Councillor Sean Lewis says that program has been a success. He's now looking towards more flexible zoning rules that could also help attract interest.
If we simplify that, if we get those commercial zones down to, say, 4 instead of 14, and allow a lot broader range of uses on a given property, that will make it more attractive.
He points to 100 Kellogg Lane, which shifted from industrial to commercial. Lewis says that was a one-off project, but should be a template for the future. Jerry Dewan, CTV News.
There are calls for London to better promote our designation as Canada's first UNESCO City of Music.
There's a lot of stories that are being shared, but they're not necessarily reaching everybody. And that was something that we heard, is that not everyone's aware of the wins that are taking place.
We can align it with our economic development plan and the downtown plan. I think it's really exciting stuff.
A new action plan outlines opportunities to better leverage the United Nations City of Music designation, which was awarded in 2021. It emphasizes building awareness, expanding supports for new artists, and enhancing international partnerships. Staff were directed to report back before a renewal application comes due in 2027.
There's a network in place. Artists feel supported. We're doing music in more places than we ever have, and we're seeing some of the economic benefits of that. But we're really not realizing the full potential of that designation yet.
It's difficult for people to get information. It's difficult for people to get a budget for the music office, and the direct question on how much money is spent on the international travel.
A Huron County farmer is still in the running for the federal NDP leadership race. He says he knows he's a long shot to actually win 2 weeks out from voting getting underway. But with more on his message to potential supporters, here's Scott Miller.
Tony McQuail is back home, hard at work on his family's organic farm near Lucknow. It's a far cry from what he was doing last week, sharing the stage at the NDP's Leadership English Debate in New Westminster, BC.
I feel very, both blessed and humbled to be there because I didn't really expect to get this far.
The 72-year-old McQuail, an organic farmer from the Lucknow area, is one of 5 Canadians still in the running to lead the federal New Democratic Party.
When I first sent out my email, most of my friends said, "Are you crazy? But, you know, your ideas give us hope," and I'm feeling pretty despairing.
McQuail, who's run 7 times, both federally and provincially for the NDP, is running on a green progressive platform centered on things like universal basic income and proportional representation.
When I first got involved, it's been 45 years. Growth is going to solve our problems. No, growth has become our problem. Growth in wealth and equity and growth in activities that are destroying the planet. So we got to change.
While he does not believe in giving in to Donald Trump's tariff policies, McQuail doesn't believe Canada is going about its nation-building projects campaign the right way either.
We should take the money that we're subsidizing and giving to the fossil fuel companies, and that's $30 billion a year. If you put that in $1 million grants to community groups across the country, that could go to $1 million grants to 30,000 communities across Canada. That, to me, would be nation building.
You asked the question, what am I running for? I want to be Prime Minister because I want to work with these people on the ideas they have to move this country forward.
With a ranked ballot, an underdog could show up as the leader. I don't expect to be the leader, but if I am, that's certainly the thing I'll be working with the other candidates that I've gotten to know through this process.
The federal New Democratic Party will announce their new leader on March 29th. Voting by members begins in 2 weeks' time. Near Lucknow, Scott Miller, CTV News.
NHL players are returning from the Olympics, but for some of them, they took a detour through Washington, D.C. President Donald Trump welcomed members of the gold medal winning U.S. men's hockey team today, including Maple Leafs captain Auston Matthews. With more, here's Sean Leathong.
The end of the Olympic break for the Leafs, but they're without their captain, as Auston Matthews is with most of his Team USA teammates at the White House in Washington.
That's pretty cool. Excited for him. I'm sure I'll be watching it on TV.
Matthew Nyes is one of 8 other American-born players on the Leafs who are waiting to greet their captain when he returns.
I mean, I'm going to give him a big hug and congratulate him. I don't know if the Canadian guys will do the same. But
I'm sure the American guys will, give him, big handshake, big hug, and congratulate him. And I'm sure the Canadian guys will do the same, but just maybe a little, less enthusiasm about it.
The U.S. defeating Canada 2-1 in overtime for the gold medal on Sunday, as Swedish Olympian and Leafs teammate William Nylander expressed his congratulations despite missing out on a medal himself.
He did an incredible job. So, and I mean, if there's anybody else that I wanted to win it, it would be him for sure.
Matthews arrived in Miami from Italy yesterday, showing off his gold medal.
Still feels pretty surreal. I mean, I don't think we really realized the magnitude.
And while attending the White House is a big moment, Leafs goalie Joseph Woll, who is an American, says the accomplishment of winning a gold medal is the focus.
Just in general, winning a gold medal for the United States after 46 years, that's the big part.
For now, the focus shifts to the National Hockey League schedule again, with Auston Matthews joining the team tomorrow night for a game against the first-place Tampa Bay Lightning, the Leafs currently sitting in 7th place in the Atlantic Division. Sean Leathong, CTV News.
Mexican authorities are projecting a sense of normalcy as tensions ease after a spree of deadly cartel violence. Canadian officials are still advising travelers to exercise caution and take things day by day. With more, here's Avery Haynes.
I want to show you the destruction that was left by the Jalisco cartel rampage on Sunday. This used to be a convenience store. If you look way back in there, there's still beer in the cooler. Oxo's kind of like 7-Eleven, and more than 100 of them were hit across this region. Here's how they did it. They take bags of gasoline, throw it inside, leave a trail of gas, and then set it on fire. Just down the street, the parking lot is a graveyard of burnt cars now being cleaned up. The big news for Canadians who have been stranded here since Sunday is that the airport is open again. Long lineups as travelers are about to end a vacation they will never forget.
It's been harrowing. You're having such a great time, and all of a sudden, without any warning, this happens and you're in a shock.
Were you scared?
A little bit, because I have my daughter with me. And
these are not sunsets and beach photos. Oh my Lord.
Oh yeah, there it is.
It'll be a good story to tell. I mean, we're just happy that we're safe.
If you have to be confined, sheltering in place in a resort on a beach with a pool and an open bar, you know, it could be worse. But yeah, glad to be going home though. And it's a real shame because it's a lovely place. The people are wonderful, and this is going to be a black eye.
55,000 Canadians are registered with Global Affairs as being in Mexico. That number is getting a little smaller now that the planes are taking off again. But there's frustration at the airport, too, because some Canadians say they can't book another flight. Avery Haynes, CTV News, Puerto Vallarta.
Still ahead, a mission for men's health, the local athlete, and his message from Parliament Hill supporting mental health. Canada's main stock index rose on strength in industrial stocks. The TSX gained 194 points in New York. The Dow added 370. The Nasdaq up 236. The Canadian dollar fell 1/10 cent. On commodity markets, gold is down almost $50 an ounce. Oil dropped 68 cents a barrel. Federal government officials summoned decision makers from OpenAI today to answer questions over the Tumbler Ridge shooting. As Judy Trin reports, they wanted to know why police weren't notified of concerns before the shooter went on a killing spree.
Mr. Park, this is OpenAI's top official responsible for safety. Chan Park was asked repeatedly if he had a message for Canadians about Tumbler Ridge. He said little.
We are very much looking forward to talking to the ministers and talking to the government.
What do you have to say to the victims of Tumbler Ridge? 7 months before the killing spree, a ChatGPT account linked to shooter Jesse Van Rootselaar was flagged internally for abuse and enforcement. The U.S. tech giant did not notify Canadian police until after the rampage. The AI minister wants to know why.
Tell us more details about their safety protocols, their escalation thresholds, and how they keep Canadians safe.
In a statement, the company said it did not alert police because the case did not meet its threshold, because OpenAI did not identify credible or imminent planning.
It looks like OpenAI had the opportunity to prevent this tragedy, to prevent this horrific loss of life.
Van Rootselaar killed 8 people. 6 of the victims were children. Her boss stayed silent, but an unidentified spokesperson says the company is cooperating with the investigation.
We're going to give a briefing to the ministers. We've been fully transparent with law enforcement here in Canada.
For AI experts, the killer's use of ChatGPT reinforces the need for strong legislation to rein in the technology.
They are barreling forward with the deployment of new tools and features and technologies without properly considering the broader safety implications of their products. And until we force them to do so, that will continue to be the trend.
Concerns about OpenAI's safety protocols is coming at a time when the U.S. tech giant is actively lobbying to help the Canadian government create a sovereign artificial intelligence platform. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
An Alberta Clipper are moving through, bringing some snowfall to the area, blowing snow and watching for snow squalls as we head into Midwestern Ontario for your Wednesday. Thanks, Kendall, for this photo of Balsam. I don't think Balsam minds the snow too much. Looks like playing there and having a good time. At the freezing mark first thing in the morning, the temperature is going to come up overnight. Winds out of the west, and they'll start to get gusty mid-morning. Flurries with the risk of snow squalls developing in London heading into the early afternoon. Stay with us. Your local forecast is coming up right after this.
Welcome back with Julie on the desk now, and tonight it sounds like we're talking snowfall.
Yes, so we've had an area of snow move through in advance of a clipper, so that clipper's coming through tonight and into tomorrow. Our high temperature will be reached in the next hour, and the temperatures will continue to climb Carlyle overnight. So that's an abnormal temperature trend. Normally we see the temperatures dropping off. The reason we're warming is the winds in advance of the clipper system have shifted and brought in a warmer flow of air. So early in the day we were dealing with those wind chills into the minus teens. Tonight we see the temperatures starting to come up. So the area of snow that has moved through, bringing anywhere from 5 upwards of 8 centimeters in parts of the region. Overnight, just flurries in the forecast. But what else we're dealing with is blowing snow. And in addition to that, the risk of snow squalls in through parts of Huron, Perth, Grey and Bruce County. So overnight, we will see some rough road conditions, slick conditions developing. But that first push of snow already through, coming to an end by about midnight. Then the cold front will come across as we head into tomorrow morning. That brings us the wind shift to the west, 30 with gusts to 50. So expect flurries and blowing snow. So this is at 11 a.m. tomorrow. You can see one squall coming right off of Lake Huron. And again, this one makes its way into London with flurries expected. We could see another 5 centimeters. So under some of these heavier snow bands, this one through the Bruce, this one is going to bring about 5 to 10 centimeters and likely warnings will be issued. So again, snowfall amounts will continue to pile up a bit, especially areas to the north, close to about 10 centimeters towards Owen Sound. Now, what we've received in the city so far, in addition to that, we'll pick up a possibility of another 5 centimeters tomorrow. So on the lower end, total about 6, on the higher end, about 10 centimeters. I'm going to go a little bit in between, close to about 7 to 8 centimeters. Temperature tomorrow afternoon drops. So we reach our high in the morning. By the afternoon, we're down to about -4, gusty winds and blowing snow expected. As we head through the next 7 days, we'll see some big fluctuations and a taste of spring. So tomorrow, temperature drops in the afternoon, flurries and blowing snow, and the risk of snow squalls anytime after about 10 to 11 a.m. and then continuing through the early afternoon. Then as we head into your Thursday, a mix of sun and cloud, but it will be very cold in the morning, -12 with wind chills into the minus teens. Friday, we're going to go from -2 all the way up to 7 degrees. People will be singing spring across the area. Saturday still quite mild, but Saturday night a cold front comes in and that gives us a reality check for sure. We're back down to -6 on Sunday under a mix of sun and cloud. Early next week, the chance for flurries both Monday and Tuesday, and temperatures once again take a bit of a dive. Flurries, blowing snow and snow squall risk heading into tomorrow across Midwestern Ontario. Please give yourself lots of extra time in the morning. It will get quite cold again tomorrow night and heading into Thursday morning, a mix of sun and cloud, but the temperature drops down to -15. So starting the day very chilly with wind chills close to about -20. Friday, lots of sunshine, 6 degrees, +2 on Saturday, and then back down to -7 on Sunday. A major roller coaster ride through the weekend with a big warm up followed by cold air returning. So please be careful out there on the roads. Winter not finished with us just yet. That clipper system coming through tonight with snowfall, flurries in the forecast overnight, and possibility of some snow squalls heading into tomorrow. Carlyle, back to you.
Thanks, Julie. Federal government officials say they're considering sending aid to Cuba in the midst of a disastrous food and gas shortage. However, as Heather Wright reports, that may risk upsetting American authorities, a not insignificant factor.
Cuba is running on fumes, with some predicting the island nation could run out of oil in as little as 30 days.
We go through sometimes 21 hours without electricity.
Bisma Khan is a Canadian who runs a nonprofit that brings medical supplies to Cuba. She says fuel is scarce and food prices have gone up since the oil blockade began in January.
There's definitely challenges with transport. The medical system, like the hospitals, the clinics, the old age homes, they need a lot of supplies.
Canada plans to send supplies to Cuba, though it's not clear what that aid might look like. Global Affairs Minister Anita Anand said today an announcement will be made in the coming days.
Cuba has been, at the brink, close to the brink of collapse for many, many years.
Mark Manger is a global affairs professor at the University of Toronto and says the humanitarian situation was dire long before the U.S. oil blockade.
The horrible situation is fully to blame on the Cuban regime, but that doesn't mean that sanctions are an effective policy to topple it.
In sending aid to Cuba, Canada faces a balancing act in helping the Cuban people without further inflaming tensions with the United States.
This is a Canadian government that came to power on the basis of distancing itself from an administration in the United States that is very coercive. And this is a clear test case for the Canadian government to demonstrate how far it's willing to go.
U.S. President Donald Trump has said he would impose tariffs on any country that sends oil to Cuba. And while a White House official speaking on background would not say whether Canada would face any reprisals for sending aid, they did confirm the embargo remains in place with the goal of, quote, holding the Cuban regime accountable. Heather Wright, CTV News, Toronto.
Finally tonight, a local skateboard champion partnering with the federal government on a national men's health strategy. He's asking Canadians to weigh in on an upcoming survey launching next month. And with more on the questions they're hoping to answer, here's Brent Lale.
I'm a man who struggles, and I want other men to feel like they can say that as well.
London skateboarder Richie Bulbrook is sharing his mental health story in hopes of helping fellow Canadians.
Last year, I suffered the most serious concussion of my life, and for about 4 months, I didn't know if I would ever live a normal life again, let alone skateboard. And that experience taught me a lot. It nearly broke me.
Bulbrook was in Ottawa as part of a federal government strategy to improve mental health in men and boys. Research indicates that 28% of men meet criteria for substance abuse during their lives. An online survey will be launched in early March. Researchers also state 75,000 Canadian men died prematurely from 2020 to 2023. Many of their deaths were from preventable causes.
Too often, the message men and boys hear is to tough it out, to stay quiet, and to deal with it alone.
Bulbrook will travel to Brazil this week to compete at the World Skateboarding Championships. He's working towards the 2028 Summer Olympics.
For many athletes, especially in my sport, an entire lifetime of work leads to about 45 seconds on the Olympic stage, and then it's over. That is a heavy weight to carry.
Bulbrook shared how he lost his father and uncle to alcoholism, both of which he called preventable deaths. Now he's encouraging everyone to have those uncomfortable conversations.
I dedicate this journey to my dad and every man who is fighting something no one else can see.
Brent Lale, CTV News.
That's it for us. Thanks for watching. For all of us at CTV News London, I'm Carlyle Fiset. Have a good night.